Hello everyone, this is going to be a very last minute review for the exam tomorrow if you have not prepared. Or even if you have prepared and want to get some last minute studying in. Ready? Let's go. Alright, we have Enlightenment thought, both political and economic, and I'm going to go over religious as well. So just know some basic ideas. For politics, know that government was sort of revisioned as you have to care for the people. It's not just a people serving a state, but like it in Prussia, but more so a state serving a people. So you've got people like Joseph II, the Habsburg, and he's an enlightened absolutist, and he's like, okay, I want to rule for the people now. But even with him, he was just ruling with enlightenment in mind. He wasn't just fully expressing enlightenment beliefs. Enlightenment beliefs, such as the beliefs of Montesquieu or Rousseau or Voltaire, were that there should be branches of government, and government should be divided in terms of power. And with John Locke, people believed that the people should have all the power, or maybe that's more Rousseau, but with John Locke, he definitely believed that people should have more power. John Locke's actually, his vision is very close to what we have nowadays in America, and a lot of that's inspired by him. So economic, we've got sort of middle class pushing for it, pursuing the interests of the gentry rather than the nobility, just them, fighting wars for trade and tariffs rather than for noble lines or dynasty. All right, next topic is the Querelle des Femmes. So this literally translates to the quarreling of the women, and that's pretty much what it was. So you've got a small group of women. The vast majority of society, both men and women, still believes in the traditional old-fashioned role of women, namely as caretakers of the house and of the children. And they believed that, but there were some groups of women, such as Mary Estelle or Mary Wollstonecraft, who believed that women had a different role, or that it was just the education that made the difference, and that women could really succeed to the same lengths that men could if only they were treated the same. They were sort of put down by Enlightenment ideas that gave rationality to subjecting women, and you can't just subject women for no reason anymore. Now there has to be rationality. There has to be rationality behind it, even if it's false, because everything has to be explained, right? Like, we need to explain everything. But they are put down for the most part. Their ideas are put down, ignored, rejected, and destroyed. Not destroyed. They end up inspiring the feminist movement, but that's later. There is Rococo and neoclassical art. So Rococo art is very relaxed, very like stroll in the park, watching Netflix, that kind of thing. And it is held very strongly in France by people such as the monarch, Louis XV, and Louis XVI, his successor. So because it sort of represents the feeling of the age, especially by that monarch, Louis XV, he would rather just relax than rule his state, even if he was going to rule it poorly. Most of the executive decisions were actually made by his mistress, whose name is slipping my mind. So people were really mad about this, and they really did not like it, which is why the French Revolution ended up happening later, along with a bunch of other reasons, but it's one of them. So you've got neoclassical art. Neoclassical art was a reaction to the Rococo stage. Neoclassical art is the opposite of Rococo in every way. It's serious where Rococo is relaxing, it's hardened where Rococo is soft, etc. It focuses more on architecture, where Rococo was sort of just like, oh, let's relax and paint. It shows more Greek focus. It put ancient Greek structures into reality, and we can see this now in our Congress buildings, right? In the Lincoln Memorial, you've got those columns, right? Those massive columns. Those are based off of Greek styles, which can be seen in neoclassical art. We have music. Baroque music was very serious, short-noted, but the most important part of it was that it was focused towards the royalty, and you can see that in Louis XIV's age. Then, as we see more 1700s-ish era coming on, we see more classical art. By the way, an example of Baroque art would be Bach, or however you pronounce that. It's B-U-C-H, I believe. There might or might not be an E at the end, but you won't get points off for misspelling. So there's classical music. Think Mozart, Wolfgang Mozart. And then what's really important about this is not exactly how the music sounds. There won't be test questions on that. It is who it's focused towards. The music is focused on the middle class. The middle class is suddenly gaining power, gaining influence, and because of the demand supply, the demand is starting to create a supply of musicians who are providing music that is more fated towards relating to the average gentry, or at least the gentry with enough surplus money to spend on musicians. Then you have popular culture. Popular culture, think books. Books used to just follow old Greek myths or old religious myths. Now books are starting to turn into the modern novel where they're following a plot. They have a story. Think the archetype of the hero, right? Fighting a dragon, bringing back gold for the hometown. Stuff like that. And it's really taking form, you know? It's focusing on the middle class. Again, we're seeing this repeating pattern. Okay, what else have we got? Popular culture. Churches are no longer holding so much power in themselves. Churches still hold power, but in the state. Churches are becoming nationalized. States are for the most part, especially in Western Europe, states are controlling the churches, and the papacy itself has very little power that's not controlled by the state, and the popes are never going to be significant players in European history again. They no longer have like the same power or influence that they once did. And you can see it's very continuity. It's like all the way back to Boniface, where he had that fight with King Philip. It's just going downhill with papal power. You have taverns taking more of a significant role, fun, activities, all that, you know? Just lots of stuff. You have enlightened absolutism. Enlightened absolutism would be absolutist rulers such as William Frederick, Frederick William. Frederick the Great, or Frederick William II, who ruled a place, I think it was Prussia, and although he ruled it as an absolutist, he ruled with the people in mind and sort of put their best interests forward. He's a great example because he reorganized military structure based on more merit. He became more open to Jews. He did all these enlightened things, but he was still an absolutist in that he attained complete control. Another great example is Joseph II of the Habsburg Austrian Empire. He also did very similar things to the Prussians. Just think along those lines. It's all good. If you want more information on them, you can contact me. It's fine. You've got raison d'etat, which is the last thing I think that you need to know. Raison d'etat is self-interest or interest of the state, in which all of a sudden these states are no longer pursuing religious or dynastic interests. They're pursuing economic or political or allied interests. Like you'll see Britain and France in the 7 Years and wars over Silesia. They're just completely switching sides over and over again with the Austrians and the Prussians, just completely basing it off of defeating and halting each other, just because they're competitors and they want to have empires overseas. And you'll see this in how Britain takes with the Treaty of Paris the Indian Ocean, and it's all very important. And I believe that is all for now. I might be making more videos later on some topics that will not be appearing on the test, but this is a review for the test. Good luck, guys.